to soul, soul to soul, soul to soul.
Dear viewers, welcome to the program Soul to Soul Talk Show. Today, amongst us, we have Sister Meera, who is the director of all the Rajyoga meditation centers in Malaysia. It is a pleasure having you amongst us, Sister.
Thank
A very
you.
warm welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you.
Sister, how and when did you come into this knowledge?
Actually, I was introduced to this Brahmakumari's Rajyoga Center in 1968 by my father, who was actually in contact with the center for 6 months before me. So I was just studying in my final BSc, just preparing for my examination, and so I happened to visit the center.
Indian society, the main aim is to get married or to earn money, but you chose this path of spirituality. How did this happen?
In fact, from childhood, I always was thinking of serving community, and so I had the aim to either become a doctor or a nurse so that I can serve the community. I never had the thought of getting married and create a family.
Okay.
I never had a thought. And so that is the reason I had chosen my subject, botany, chemistry and zoology, so that after my graduation I can go into medicine.
Okay. Sister, if you could just share us something about your professional life, like about your academic life.
You know, actually I am just a little bit, introverted person, and I always like to concentrate on my studies. So my aim was to do my best, and I always had that thought in my mind that whatever career I take up, I must put my heart and soul into it and do it properly. And so when I went into the college, I was totally concentrating on my studies. And so, as I said, I wanted to pass in bright colors so that I can get my medical, seat in a medical college, so I can study them.
Okay.
So even though I had my friends, and my friends always used to say, means we used to study together, and we used to be together from our higher secondary school, but somehow they saw some kind of uniqueness in me. And they always used to point out that my inclination towards spirituality, even though I was an academic person, but I had that inclination towards spirituality, but I never thought that I will take up spirituality seriously as a way of life.
So, sister, were you inclined towards spirituality from your childhood?
Yes, I think so, because I was brought up in a family which is very, spiritual from childhood. So we were living in a joint family, and so from childhood we were taught to do prayers, and we were taught to do some, visit temples, go to meet the swamis and gurus and things like that. But at that time, I had no idea about difference between spirituality and religion, because I thought it was all one and all the same, So it is only after I have gone into this path, I see clearly the difference between religion and spirituality.
Sister, were you a God fear kind of a person?
Not really, but there was a kind of, background in our family that we must first of all pray God before we do anything. And because it was kind of a custom and it was forced upon us that I have to do it. Like, for example, in our family, we cannot get a cup of coffee as soon as you wake up. We have to take shower, we have to chant certain mantras. It's only then. So we just followed it blindly and out of compulsion. But I don't think I had any fear, but we were asked to go to the temple, so we just followed, but I don't think, I cannot remember having fear of God. But also there was not that love for God also.
Okay.
I think I just did it because it was like a custom. other people were doing and family asked us to do, we just did it.
Sister, what is the difference between religion and spirituality? What difference did you find in spirituality?
Actually, for me, spirituality is very wide. So it embraces all the values that is necessary for our life. Religion in the form of ism, it's a kind of, it creates a kind of dogmas and rituals and ceremonies. And so that makes a little bit of difficult for everyone to accept. But spirituality, I found, it is based on values. And spirituality for me is to take personal responsibility for a positive change. And so I am able to bring change in myself and help to bring change in the world. And it's open to all. Anybody from any religion can be part of spirituality without compromising their religion. And spirituality has no barriers. It goes beyond barriers. So I find that you can embrace all souls in the world as your family without any kind of discrimination.
Okay. Sister, in religion also values are taught. So what is the difference in the values taught in spirituality and in religion? I mean, both the things teaches us values in life. They teach us how to inculcate values basically. So what is
But
the
actually there are 3 sets of values.
Okay.
What religion teaches us is moral values. But the foundation of moral values is spiritual values. Without understanding spiritual values, one cannot practice moral values and human values. If there was really human values and moral values in practical in religion, today so much of war will not be fought. So much of bloodshed and violence will not happen in the religion. And so I think what was missing was the spiritual values. Because for example, if you ask somebody to speak the truth, be honest, but then they don't know why we need to be honest. Because in spirituality we understand the intrinsic quality of the soul is truth. So because I am truth by my nature, to speak honesty is natural for me. So because that is lacking, we find that, even though someone who is religious, they do not practice values in their life.
Sister, what was your parents' reaction when you walked the path of spirituality?
Actually, I was very, very fortunate. So my father was the first person who was very happy when I decided to lead this spiritual life, because he wanted me to follow him, but somehow I was busy with my studies, so I did not take much interest. But when I decided instantly, when I visited the center for the first time, and I decided that this is what I want to lead, my father accepted, and he readily allowed me to stay. And of course, my mother cooperated. All my family members cooperated, because one thing, our family had this aim that, every child should be given freedom to decide what they want in their life. And so my parents gave me the full freedom to take responsibility for my life and to decide what I want. And they readily, happily accepted. And even today, they are happy that I am happy in my life.
Okay.
Yes.
Sister, what made you take up this step of spirituality? Were you unhappy with your previous life?
No, not at all, actually. Actually, this is really not a right opinion people have. People think that somebody will take into spirituality because there is problem in their life. No, I was a seeker. I was a seeker of truth, and I was a seeker of wisdom. So someone who is a seeker of wisdom, someone who is a seeker of truth, someone who is a seeker of God, so naturally they are brought into connection with people, like-minded people. And so that seeking nature, that seeking, the quest for wisdom and truth has brought us into this path. Actually, there was no problem or no unhappiness.
Okay. Sister, what was this quest for something? What quest was there?
No, means the quest was to know reality. You know, in the path of bhakti, we used to worship so many gods and goddesses. I remember when I was small, I used to ask many questions to my parents. By the way, you know, from childhood, I studied in Christian convents. And then in Christianity, they talk only about Christ and nothing else. But here, you know, they talk about so many goddesses. And then I used to ask questions. They always used to ask us, you keep quiet now. When you grow up, answers will come back to yourself. So many questions were unanswered, you know. And so when I came to the Raj Yoga path, I find that every question that was in my mind was answered. I got more than the knowledge, wisdom into my life.
Okay. Sister, you were in search of God or you were in search of yourself?
Means not directly, I would say that I was in search of myself or I was in search of God, but I was in search of truth.
Okay.
Because I want to know the truth of life. You know, what is all about this life? You know, why we are here, what we should do. You know, that why people, you know, everybody, somebody is rich, somebody is poor. You know, somebody is wealthy, somebody is sick. So why all these things happening, you know? So sometimes, of course, in religion, they used to say, is there someone called God who cannot hear this? But I was not directly in search of God, but I was really seeking, because I was a science student.
Okay.
And so I believe in logic, you know, and scientific explanation.
Okay.
And so I was really looking for some kind of answers to my questions.
Okay. Sister, what kind of a lifestyle you had before coming into this spiritual knowledge?
Very simple life, you know, because I belonged to a middle class family, and so we were in a joint family, and so we led a simple life. And I was interested more in science. So always I was looking for some scientific evidences, explanations. But at the same time, my parents taught us Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit. So I was open to learning. But my purpose of life was to serve community. So in whatever way, doesn't matter. I remember when I was in higher secondary school, I even joined the Girls Guide, you know, NCC. So where they will take us to do some social service in villages. So I was very much keen in helping people. So my life was simple, you know. I did not like much fashion. I did not like too much of a poshy life. Simple, so that I am able to lead a peaceful and a happy life.
And sister, what changes you saw in yourself after coming into spirituality?
Of course, many changes internally.
Okay.
Means externally, I was simple enough already, you know, so there was not much difference for my external lifestyle, but there is a lot of change internally, because I begin to realize the value of my thoughts. I begin to realize the value of my time. I begin to realize the value of our relationship. So, you know, I was able to bring a lot of change in my habits, you know, in my own deep subconscious mind, because of course no human being is perfect, you know, we all have defects. But then to realize I have a defect is a big problem. So when you begin to practice meditation, when you begin to use knowledge in your practical life, you realize many things. So that's what has happened. So it has changed my life internally totally.
Sister, what kind of a realization you're talking about?
Like, for example, you know, I am a person who did not have any patience.
Okay.
You know, of course, I like accuracy, but then when somebody is not accurate, I become impatient.
Okay.
So, means I want things to happen on time, sometimes when it is not happening, so there used to be a kind of impatience. So now after being in meditation, in spiritual knowledge, so I have developed a lot of patience. Maybe I have a long way to go. I don't say I have become perfect in it, but I can see, you know. And secondly, of course, you know, there are many subtle forms of anger. Maybe I did not get anger physically, but sometimes there used to be a kind of irritation. Sometimes there used to be a kind of feeling of being annoyed. Due to expectation, you get disappointments. But then after being in knowledge for some time, I begin to realize that this world is like a drama and we are all actors on this world. And each actor have a different role to play, you know, so that because I developed self-respect. I developed self-respect. So I begin to respect others.
Okay. Sister, did anyone motivate you to take up this spirituality in your life?
I think it's, if I can remember, it's my father, you know, because we saw change in his life. Because he was a very angry person, very, very angry. Because his anger used to be so strong that when he was at home, none of the children would speak out. We were all very scared, you know, vibrations was very different. And my mother was the one who was always getting the effect of his anger. And we used to see that all the time, you know, but we couldn't say anything. But since he began to come to the meditation Rajyoga, we did not know he was coming here, but we begin to see the changes in his life. And so the atmosphere of our home changed. And particularly our relationship between my mother and father began to become more peaceful, harmonious. And then of course the vibration affected all of us. So we were very curious to know where he is going, you know. And then finally when he took me, then I came to know that this is where the change has brought. So I think if I can think about it, maybe he was one of the motivator. He motivated me to bring me to the center. But the second motivation is actually the atmosphere. When I entered the center for the first time, I did not know anybody. I did not even take the 7 days course. But the moment I entered the place and met the first person, when I made the eye contact, I could feel just like, you know, I was not in this world. I felt the purity, the divinity in the atmosphere, and I was very impressed. So that was the atmosphere of the center and the vibrations that were emitting from the people who lived there. That could be the second motivator.
Sister, you saw changes in your father, so that influenced you to come into spirituality, or you had some personal experience because of which you took this path?
Though I had the personal experience, my father was the motivator. He motivated me to come to the center, but the spiritual experience I had for the first time is with the person whom I met for the first time when I made the eye contact. So I was transported into another world without even knowing any knowledge. And I felt deeply within myself, I want to become like that person, you know, and I want to be there with her. So that was my first motivation, experience, like totally transported. And of course, after that, many more experiences, you know, in my, in this journey of life, because I had the opportunity to meet the founder father, Prajapita Brahma, once. And so going to Mount Abu, meeting him personally, that was also a big motivation for me.
Sister, who is your role model?
My role model is Dadi Prakashmani. I just love her. You know, I always saw her as a practical example how one should be a spiritual leader.
Okay.
At the same time, mother.
Okay.
So since I have met her, from the time I came until she left the body, I really keep her as my role model.
Sister, you just mentioned that you were happy with your previous life and your family was very happy that you were into spirituality. But how did your relatives and your friends reacted towards it? Because you were so educated, you did your BSc, you did your graduations. How did your relatives and friends reacted towards it?
I think they accepted very easily. I had no problem because my family accepted, wholeheartedly that this is what she wants to do, let her do it. And then, of course, my friends, from the beginning when I was with them, they had that kind of feeling that, I wouldn't lead a life like them, but they wanted to lead a family life. They knew that I would be choosing a kind of a different path from the beginning. And so they also accepted. So I am very fortunate. I had no problem from anywhere, including my own heart. So with everybody's blessing, everybody's cooperation, I am moving along very well.
Sister, you just mentioned that you met the founder, Brahma Baba. What experience you had with him?
For the first time, I just felt, that when I went to Mount Abu for the first time, I just felt like I have come back home. I never had any strange feeling. And when I met him with my father by my side, I just felt like he's my real father. I really felt that this is my real father and I belong to him. And I just went for a holidays and I came back. And that feeling of acceptance was great. And of course, Baba's personality was unique. You can never see a person of that caliber, that charisma anywhere in the whole world, because I have met Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Shivananda, many other gurus, but Baba's personality was very unique. His drishti, his words, his presence, vibrations was enough for people to know that this is not an ordinary person.
Thank you, sister, for being with us. Viewers, we'll get to know more experience of Didi in the next episode. Till then, have a nice day.